Hello there, you beautiful soul, and welcome back to another Culture Talks segment with your host and founder of Cultured Society. This channel is brought to you with the intention of inspiring you, allowing you to level up, to live in your truth, to teach you mindfulness practices, and to also show you that there are so many people in this world that are making waves on this planet and are purpose driven and that are here to inspire you and just to guide you into walking in your purpose and your divine truth. And although we are all uniquely designed, I believe that we are all a part of one body in Christ, which makes us all one. And we have the capacity to come together and have a conversation. And although we may have different life philosophies, experiences, career paths, ways of living on a day-to-day basis, we can still come together and love each other, have an amazing conversation, and level each other up. And I'm all about growth. And the guest that I have today is actually coming to you from Lithuania.
Whoop,
She's in
whoop.
Lithuania right now, and I'm so excited because I met Inga. I met her a few years ago through a direct sales company that we were both a part of. I'm currently a part of it, but now since she's in Europe, the part of Europe that she's in, this company is not offered. However, this company really taught us the importance of mindset and really just investing in our own personal growth so that we may be able to give back to other people. Because although I like to say that there's a lot of people and that I'm aligned with a lot of people who are on that personal growth journey, there's still a lot of people that are not investing their time in personal growth. And we are here to teach you that it's possible for you to, and that this is a way of living that is a holistic way of living. It's not just a mindset, it is also a body and spiritual connection. So when all of that is aligned, you are aligned and you're operating in your fullness of your truth and loving yourself unconditionally through this process. So with this, I want to introduce Inga Rimkeviciute, who's a serial entrepreneur, professional pivoter, wellness hacker, and energy dealer. She's a multilingual, multi-passionate woman with a squirrel brain functionality. From server and nanny to massage therapist to 18-wheeler driver and owner-operator to Chicago Fashion Week's project manager to Nirvana fitness instructor to nutritional therapist, and now me time. It's Laikas, if I said it correctly, woman community founder in Lithuania, Grow On podcast host, where fun is encouraged, mistakes are accepted, and where everything is figureoutable. Inga is inspiring women to master their interpersonal growth game through learning and developing new habits to start living their big dream. She is obsessed with sharing healthy growth tips, hair growth tips, and routines, along with wellness hacks. So today we are about to grow on. Welcome, Inga, to this beautiful platform. I'm so honored to have you as a guest today.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. So actually, I'm very thankful and very grateful.
Oh, yes, it's such an honor. And this is the first time that Inga and I have seen each other face to face. Well, I like to say that we're in each other's space right now because even though we're hundreds of thousands of miles away, I feel like right now we're exchanging energy in the same space. And so you're going to feel our energy through this conversation. And I just pray that you embrace it because it's going to be very lit. So all the questions that I'm asking my panel of guests on this series are all the same questions. Yet the conversation has been so unique and so different every single time. And like I mentioned earlier, we are all so uniquely designed and we're all having our own personal experience. So it's I just thought it was a great idea to speak about life philosophies because in our age group, I'm 36. Inga, how old are you? If you don't
I'm
mind me
38.
38. Okay. So even in our age group, we're not having enough conversations about life philosophies. In fact, majority of the conversations that are being had on a lot of podcast platforms are very much about their business, careers, money. And although I listen to a lot of spiritual podcasts and a lot of podcasts about really personally growing in your mind, body, and spirit, I believe that it's very important to continue to have these conversations because of the trajectory that we're going on in this upcoming phase of our existence. I like to believe that we're living heaven on earth, whether you like to accept that as your truth or not, because heaven on earth is really a mindset. And when you get yourself in that mindset, you recognize that we have abundance everywhere. And so it's so important to tune in to people's life philosophies, to people's experiences, and to learn from each other. So I want to start out with my first question. Inga, what is your life's philosophy?
So the first, I think this question actually was the amazing question. It's amazing question. And what I'm thinking, like the motto is, even I have it on my Facebook wall currently, saying like everything is figureoutable. So no matter happens in our life, even like bad experience, it's actually good. Just because life is heading actually where we want it. If we have a big vision to get somewhere, and when bad things happen, they happen for a reason, because that's the right way for us to go. Even maybe we don't want it. We don't know it yet. And what I'm thinking, like, we always grow through practice. So we can read one thing, but I think our growth, it's like through connections, through knowledge, and everything applying to it. So this is my life philosophy. We have to grow and go through it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. That is so amazing. And, you know, I used to always think that my life was really like it was. I felt like it was really unique, the path that I took. But the more that I got into my personal growth, the more I was open to aligning with women like you, right? That have a very similar experience where you've changed so much. You've adapted to so many environments, and coming from a country like Lithuania straight to a city like Chicago, has that philosophy evolved through the years with all of your experiences having to change?
Okay, when I moved to America, I was 21 years old. So I was basically child. Okay, so my philosophy, I had no clue about life, like about life. I was learning, and I was learning the life new way, not like my culture, my parents or my mom. So I had to adapt to being grown up in totally different culture, right? So it really changed because it changed my mindset. There were moments where I was actually thinking, I'm a victim, like, because it's not the way I know, and I had to be open. But I'm thinking like I had to accept the life what was bringing me in Chicago. It was lots of learning, like my relationships, my work path, my surroundings. And actually the biggest shift happened when I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. So that's what breakthrough happened, because I literally said, God, take me. I cannot do this no more. And it was the biggest breakthrough in my life. So I'm just encouraging people, just say like, hey, if you're going through a hard time right now, there is a reason. Be open for change. Don't be holding on into something because you grew out of it. Like, just let it go yourself through pain, and the magic doors will open.
Oh my, yes, yes, that is so true. And you know what? And I've learned this through my journey because I actually moved to Chicago when I was 18 years old. And I went straight from a town that was really small. I was really sheltered. And moving to a city like Chicago, that will show you how to level up real quick. Like you have to adapt or get out because it will eat you alive,
There is
right?
no time to think or consider, because you have to make choices and decisions on survival mode, that's actually
Yes.
kind of like putting you in the fear. But at the same time, all senses tune in, everything tunes in, just to you start to notice things, because you have to like adapt the new, like way too fast, young, like responsibility comes on you. So of course, with no experience, lots of mistakes, like, and let's say in my case, since I'm Lithuanian, so my mom's advice, me living in America, not necessarily suit well, like my sisters, because they don't had experience. So they thought maybe America, it's different culture and country. So my family couldn't give me great advice because they're not in my shoes, right? But they wanted to,
Yes.
right?
Yes, yes. And, even though our cultures aren't exactly the same, I feel like there's a lot of similarities in the way that we were raised. And my parents were the exact same. Like all the advice that in fact, they actually just surrendered and they were just like, we're going to pray that you're safe because being in a city like Chicago, I mean, it's the murder capital of the nation. Like there's killings happening all day, every day. And for us to survive in a city like that as women, I mean, I can kind of consider myself a foreigner too, because in fact, when I moved to Chicago, people didn't even know where New Mexico was. Like they thought we were still in Mexico. So it was almost as though, operating as a foreigner in a new city, and you are like I always talk presence. It's so important for us to be present and in the moment, right? And when you're present and in the moment, you are kind of operating off survival, especially when you're in a city like that, but you're more in tune with what you're supposed to be doing.
But back then, I didn't have that knowledge. I was living on survival mode. You know what I
But
mean? Like, mhm.
don't
I
you think though, that it was more like it was an intuitive way of living? Because I feel like even though you don't know that it's happening, I feel
Mhm.
like women are a lot more in tune. And it
Absolutely.
takes a lot of courage, Inga, to go from a European country to America, a city like Chicago. And how long did you live there?
14 years. 14 years in Chicago. That's how long I lived there. But
So,
time just went by way
yeah,
too fast.
yeah, way too fast. So even through your time in Chicago, um, because you grew up really fast. So talk a little bit more about that experience as the philosophy evolved, even just through your time in America.
Okay. My time in America, I think first 2 years was the hardest because I had no skills. My English was really bad. I worked as a nanny that actually helped me to develop my English skills. Kids taught me. The same time, I went to massage school. I worked as a nanny. I worked as a server just to meet the ends meet, right? So the first 2 years was like, what planet am I on? I hear people speaking different language. They cannot even pronounce my last name, but it's the same to love. So the first, like I said, 2 years was really like adaptive state, like really brushing the corners and even how to get the driver's license or credit score, like credit history. I didn't have one. Like I'm new, like nobody knows who I am and how to build it, so it was really, really tough. And after that, like it went better. I got to understand the system, the rules, people, but like I was not in the best relationship, for a long time. So that was my learning lesson because I felt safer being in a relationship than thinking I will be better on my own for a long time. But actually, that was the one of the best decisions I did from not great relationship. Like we've been like about 6 years together, something like that. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So after that time, like when we split, like that when I made radical change, I made radical change in my career. I had health difficulties that I had really big surgery. I was like on deathbed basically. And that was my like shift. I was working in a transportation industry, not really enjoying what I was doing, but I was making good money. So I was working for the money, not for the pleasure and purpose and that. I had no idea back then because I didn't have time to figure it out.
Right.
I just got from bad relationship. I was working for the money and I lived in the area that I didn't really want to live, but it was nice place. And that was the time I said, like, I can't take it anymore. My health's telling me like I have to make a change. So this is when I said I'm start working. I need to move to the inner city, like, and I said, God, take it. So new people showed up. New people showed up with my life. New opportunities came into my life. I changed my health and actions. Actually, when I said I'm open, network direct sales company, you know, this is when it came into my life and became part of me having amazing health, amazing experiences, amazing opportunities, meeting great people, and actually like showing what's possible in the world and making extra side income. I built great team, great side income. So that was my 14-year summary, I could say.
Oh my, wow, that is a lot. And it's crazy because well, your story is very similar to Asta's, and Asta is a guest that I had. Actually, she was my first guest when I started this series, and Asta and Inga know each other, and that's how we all met. And so it's just interesting how when you're open, you really do have the ability to gravitate towards people that are going to help you and elevate you and inspire you to go to that next level, because nothing is by coincidence. And even when you are going through a really difficult transition, that's all it is. It's a transition, and allowing the transition to flow, it gives you the opportunity to make decisions that are going to help you maneuver through it with ease. And so with that, I have the next question. It really has everything to do with our circle of influence. So how has your upbringing and circle of influence impacted the way that you live and think today?
The circle of influence, and actually that's what's impacting. That's actually when I said when I was sick and tired, being sick and tired, and I was open, this is when people came into my life who showed me like certain type of books to read, podcasts to listen, certain information that I didn't knew existed. I listened to it like a hungry baby. I was looking at that information. I'm like, oh, these things do exist in the world. I want to know more. And the more I dove, the deeper and the better it got. It's like, I don't know if somebody's been diving, if you've been scuba diving or diving, you just go and you're just going on a search, like, you know, like in a forest of foraging mushrooms. It's like never ending adventure, you know? So this is what it is. Like the more people you meet, it's more exciting it gets, you know? This is how it's just impacting my life. Every single person, somehow it does impacts the life. This is how I'm.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And so how did it change since you moved to America? Like, did you ever imagine as a child or even as a teenager that you would be living the life or even had the experiences that you had while you were living here?
Maybe I had, but since I have squirrel brain, I don't remember. So maybe I was dreaming of America somewhere as a child, but I forgot. Right? Squirrel brain.
Squirrel brain.
You know? Probably I was, probably I was, but I cannot remember, like I say, but it changed. Of course, it changed. It's just different culture, like I adapted and accepted that life that I really enjoyed. Like, of course, I missed Lithuania home. This is where I live now again. Like I missed my country, and actually I can speak how adaptation is going, me coming back to Lithuania. I've been here like couple years now. Again, I feel like a foreigner in my own country because I missed out. Like I missed 14, 15 years. I don't know how the system works here. So here I go again. I'm starting again like a new baby in my own country that I was born,
Yeah, no, and I love to talk about adaptation because that's actually one of the concepts that I have embraced fully in my life that has allowed me to grow and transform in the way that I have. I like to say that we all have the capacity to go through a metamorphosis. But we don't all go through a metamorphosis because we don't allow ourselves to change when change is happening anyway. And we are all now we can agree that last year was one of those years that brought everybody by storm. And if you weren't a person that was adaptable, you had a very difficult time with this transition. And I encourage you today, if you are not as adaptable, even before the pandemic and during the pandemic, I really encourage you to continue to embrace adaptability and change, because that is what will take you to the next level of even your own personal existence. And you have the capacity to transform mind, body, spirit. I have witnessed Inga's transformation, and it has been amazing. And as myself as well, I mean, it's been a radical. Some people might not say radical because it didn't happen overnight. In fact, these changes are supposed to happen gradually. It'll
Oh,
help you
let's,
sustain it.
you know, what I want to say, like, I just sorry for interrupting, but you know who survives? Not the strongest, but the one who adapt to change the fastest and the easiest. Embrace it. Don't fight it. The world shows you time for new beginning. So be accepting. Like, okay, show me what you got. What's coming? Fun, not like, oh my god, I don't want it, I don't. It's different, it's change. Of course it's different because it's change, because in your mind you're thinking, I want this beautiful house with unicorns. Okay, so yeah, you have to come out from this bungalow. There is the gap between this, I don't know, shed on the beach that's freaking awesome, but you want to live with unicorn mansion on the hill. Okay, there is a path you need to walk. So be
Yes.
accepting. Yeah. So that's my philosophy of the life as well. Like, if people would think, oh my god, Inga, you lived in America, you've been, this, and of course, but there was a lot of pain coming with that as well. Everything had a price. Everything. I've been judged, I've been talked bad about, I've been, I don't know, rejected, I've been bad person. But I'm accepting it because I have my own boundaries, and I encourage you to have set the boundaries to protect yourself as well. Like,
Abs- Absolutely. I am so glad that you said that, because you know what? Oftentimes, um, when you're starting on the path of personal growth, and maybe you've been stuck in this like mundane routine, you've been stuck in this box that society creates for you, and you start to step outside of that, oftentimes you're going to meet a lot of resistance, and you're going to meet a lot of challenges, adversities, obstacles. I can attest to what Inga is saying, because I have been through so much transition, and through the process I've lost a lot, not just including material possession. I've had financial hardships, I've lost friends. There's been so many adversities, but through those adversities, not only do you find yourself, but you create that barrier. It's almost as though, like, that when you stretch your arms out, that this is your energetic field, and that nobody, absolutely nobody, has the right to overstep those boundaries if you don't let them. Even energetically, you can literally transmute any negativity that is coming at you with so much grace, and recognizing that what people's judgments about you have nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. Because when you're on your own path, you don't have time to judge anybody. You don't have time to talk, like bad or talk down when somebody's just trying to rise. And we all have the capacity to do that. So keep that in mind when you're on this path and you're continuously growing and evolving, because oftentimes it will get very lonely and you will be misunderstood, right? And it's just, you have to have that resilience, and you have to have that tenacity and that strength. And you only gain that through allowing yourself to go through these experiences. So Inga, do you believe that your line of work infects our society with positivity?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I just want to fill you up in something, like fill what you said. All of us would have to have a rubber butt, right? When we fell down, it's just matter of fact how fast we get up, right? Like, okay, I'm back again. So it's resilience. And if my work impacts the society, absolutely. First of all, when we find alignment with passion, it just flows, right? But my work, like, there's few things that I do, like working with a woman, it's how I express myself as well. Like, I'm filling up my own cup, I'm in alignment, but by that I know I'm filling their cup as well. Like, somebody's like getting results in their hair or in their health, or I'm motivating them somehow to go for their dreams, or like for their goals. It's a strong word, it's very masculine word. I think dreams, it's more feminine. Like, desires, this is how I'm in fact impacting society. Like, if the woman is in a wanting something but doesn't know how to, or afraid to do it, and I'm the one who's pushing the button, be saying like, jump down the cliff, and she's flying happy, I'm happy.
Yes, yes. And that's the way that it should be. And would you say, so I'm going to ask you the next question and then we can go more in depth, but do you believe that the work that you do every day is now aligned with your calling and higher purpose?
That's what I said. Absolutely. It took me years to actually find and discover. It took me years, a lot of work to work on myself, figuring out what's my personality, what's my Enneagram type. This is because I know I'm 7 with wing 8 and I have 3. So I know what it means. I know what is it. Now I don't have to say like, oh my God, how do I function in this world? I'm broken and disabled just because I'm thinking that way. Or I have that many ideas. And now I know I'm good. Like, I'm good. This is me, and I'm aligning all of my strengths to help others. It's just like full cup.
Yes. And I'm so glad that you said that, because it's important for the audience to understand that although we are doing this platform and we're pouring into you, you have to understand as well that we had to go through numerous stages, and even just like the process of learning to unconditionally love ourselves, because everybody's on a specific journey. And this is where we also have to understand that comparison is a trap, and that if you're looking to these platforms to be like someone, you're doing yourself a disservice. These platforms and these conversations are to inspire you to do what you're supposed to be doing. It's not supposed to look like my life. It's not supposed to look like Inga's life. It's supposed to be very unique to your own path and what feels good to you. I know for myself, I can definitely relate to what Inga is saying, because I had to go through numerous years of where I was doing the wrong thing, but it wasn't really the wrong thing. It was more so the very thing that was getting you on that path and helping you understand that chasing money is not chasing purpose. Chasing money is really giving you stress. It's when you're chasing purpose, when you're actually not chasing, when you're pursuing purpose with intention, that money and monetary success will find you with ease. You're not going to feel overwhelmed all the time. You're going to feel like what you're doing it's with intention, it's fun, it's like it's purpose filled, it's fulfilling every single day. Would you agree, Inga? I feel like add to that.
I agree that money is energy.
Absolutely.
Everything is energy, right? So when we're aligned, when we fulfilled, and when it equals, like there's an equal, aligned and fulfilled. So when you fulfilled, you just giving without being exhausted. Of course, you have to fill up the cup, your own cup, but you like sharing whatever you do, you're going on a path just because you're being aligned, you're having in return, it's a cycle. It's a cycle of it coming back. You're giving the energy and it comes back in monetary. Let it be the money, or let it be somehow, you know, like, and just flows. It's like a river. It just flows. I have these principles, probably you and everybody knows. It's called Ikigai. So it's a Japanese principle by you do what you love, you do what the world needs, what you're passionate about, and what you get paid for. That's the Ikigai, why you jump out of the bed. But it takes people to, it takes time to understand what is it for everybody. Like if somebody would have asked me, like I said, 24-year-old, what's my Ikigai? I had no idea. I would be like, what are you asking? Like, and I'm going to eat my whatever it is, you know? Like I didn't understand the meaning of like purpose, alignment, like, so yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. And I love that Ikigai. I love that concept. And it's really, it teaches you the importance of just being in tune with yourself. When you're
Yeah.
not in tune with yourself, majority of the time, and I lived this way for a very long time where I was sick all the time, I was stressed all the time, I was so overwhelmed, and it was like physically manifesting in my body, like where I couldn't lose the weight. I felt gross inside my body all the time, just so much discomfort and dis-ease. And you know, like you'll learn that to trust your body, and when you're doing the things that are feel good for yourself, and then it's not in a way where you're going out and drinking and it's like very, like the satisfaction is like very temporary, or you're distracting with other things. It's more so, and we'll talk about more about this now, but let me ask you the next question. How do you stay, I use this word because everybody has a different perception of this word. So it's really interesting to hear people's responses to it. But how do you stay relevant, unique, and true to who you are as a person?
First of all, feeling in tune and being present. That's very actually being like who I am, and at the same time, who I want to be. So being in a understanding who I am and a journey where I'm heading, right? So everybody has their own vision of their life, like who they want to be or where they at already, right? So knowing like, this is me, Inga, right? So it's not the same person that was 20 years ago, but I still have a long life to live, right? So for me, staying who I am, I have to be like, okay, this is me right now, but how can I improve and grow to become where I am? So it's like really being here and now, I think. Other things I listen and learning, I think that's the other aspect. So actually books, podcasts, people that actually helps me grow, if it makes sense. Did I make it clear?
Yeah. Yes, you did. And your response is actually perfect, because oftentimes we use that relevance to be relevant to other people. And we should never really be doing things to please anyone.
No.
Although because we're actually doing a disservice if we're doing it to please other people. We're typically going to feel unfulfilled at the end of the day because we're not getting the response from people that we're expecting. And we should never expect to be validated by anybody. Like the only validation that you really need is the one that you give yourself, right? That comes from your creator, and that God has given you the power, you know, to be relevant within your own unique DNA, right? So that you can better serve the people around you, and everybody's going to be, it's like literally a domino effect. And you have the power to do that. Inga is a very, very power driven person, and she has so much energy, and she has, seriously, like she inspires me with everything that she does because she's being true to who she is. And it's not really that she doesn't really care about what anybody thinks about her. And it's so beautiful. Now, you already talked about some of your practices, but talk a little bit more about what practices you implement on a day-to-day basis to stay grounded and connected to yourself and your creator.
Okay. So first of all, it starts in the morning, I think. I love, not that it's not like I love, but I feel how I feel after. I don't like the process, but like cold showers. I don't like them, but I like how I feel later. Can you hear me? Okay, it looks like our
I can hear
connection
you.
is.
I can hear
Can
you,
you hear
but
me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh,
There it is.
should I be speaking? Should I be dancing? Should I be proceeding?
This year,
Oh,
yeah, no, now I can hear you. Go ahead, keep going.
can you hear me? Okay, so it's a shower thing. It's a cold shower. I know, like I said, like I don't like the process, but I like being like after. That's one of the things. I really love affirmations. Actually, that was my one of the bouncy things that helped me and helps me to like either I'm down or I'm a little bit, like that's my focus. That helps me to balance me out or like put me back on the right path. Like if I'm losing confidence in myself or something, like affirmation, it's just something. Meditation, visualization, it's huge for me. Seeing what I want, where I go, how to do it, like visualization, it's a really huge thing. I'm a Nirvana fitness instructor. Probably in America you don't know what is it because it's developed in Europe. So Nirvana fitness, it's blend of uh, yoga Pilates with meditative music and dancing in one, like with theta music. So it's like blend of few things, like working and breathing and the breathing techniques. So this is what I do, and actually really helps me to move my body and actually really focus on my breathing as well. Because if you notice, majority of society is breathing like puppies. We're like we don't do like deep diaphragm breathing. So breathing techniques as well. What else? Nutrition. Oh, that's the base for everything.
Yes.
I think that's the most important thing because of the nutrition. Even have right here, I have green juice. I didn't drink it all this time, right?
Yeah.
But that's the base to have the healthy brain to make decisions. That's number one thing, I think, in our life. That's the nutrition.
I
And we
couldn't
keep
agree.
cutting off.
You know what? It keeps freezing a little bit, but I can hear you fluidly speaking, so it's fine. This is what happens when we're doing live conversations. And just so you know, I don't edit these for the purpose of you being a part of a very raw and authentic conversation. And I want you to know that it's never really perfect. And so, although I feel like everything's perfect, but it's perfectly imperfect because usually when we're going through real life scenarios, there's going to be hiccups, there's going to be disruptions, and I want you to be a part of it while we're having these conversations. So I couldn't agree with you more, Inga, because nutrition is not just the substance food that you put into your mouth. Nutrition is a holistic experience as well. When you are developing your mindset, you recognize that what you put into your mouth counts. And therefore, that it really has a communication with your solar universe in your gut. And your gut is your second brain, and it's sending signals to your supercomputer brain. And it's really helping you function at an optimal level if you're doing it the right way. And everybody's different. For me, and I know Inga too, because we kind of were going through that same similar path where we were really focused on putting good nutrition into our body while developing our mind and developing our skill sets through the process. And we can both attest that nutrition makes the biggest difference in the way that you function every single day. And so you mentioned, and even in your bio, that you have squirrel brain. So how does your daily routine help you navigate through the squirrel brain?
Okay, the squirrels don't have a routine, right? They don't, like, I don't have set routine because routine kills me. Like, this is how I function and I'm embracing it. So I know certain things, what I need to do. So my biggest help, I don't have it like by me right now, but it's a planner. I have to write it down to know what I'm doing. Second thing, I use a lot of sticky notes. I have a brain dump journal and I have a journaling. So it's a lot of writing, I would say. Dumping because my brain is so active, I use a lot of like putting everything on the paper. Otherwise, I don't know, there's too many squirrels having conversation. So I have to like so I just let them speak and I just write it down, right? And then I look at it, okay, it makes sense. And then I connect the dots. And this is why I'm a great visionary, you know?
Oh, that's so good.
So like I said, I don't have a routine. I'm not one of those people who have a schedule, right? I use calendar, like, okay, that's the time I'm going to have conversation with Rebecca. Like, I have amazing pen. You can tell, like, magician. You know, like, I use things to write it down to do, but once I don't really have a routine, you know, like this is probably why I'm mentally unemployable. Because of a creative brain. And I take supplements. I think that's another fact that's really important. It's taking the supplements.
Oh, yes. I love it. Okay, so
Squirrel brain. I think I'm the one.
I love
yeah,
this.
I'm not the only one.
I love this because I wouldn't consider myself a scholar, but I feel like I've had to try really hard throughout my journey to get good grades, like when I was in school. And even I went to an art school, so I didn't even go to a traditional college, but I always felt like I needed to discipline myself to focus. But I felt like it never really worked for me. Like working for corporate jobs was like a nightmare. I mean, I learned a lot and it was a great skill to have because I worked for a lot of corporate companies and I got to travel and do some really cool stuff. But just like Inga, I feel like I'm unemployable because of how my brain functions. I just have so many ideas. I consider myself a visionary too. Like, I just can't adapt to just one thing. I get so bored. I get so bored. But there is definitely, yeah, right. And I don't necessarily have like a specific schedule every single day, not anymore. But I'm like Inga too, where I have stuff on my calendar that's really important. Like, obviously I'm doing this podcast series and I have like all of these on my calendar. I write things down. I have my notes in my phone, like, so it's really important to have your non-negotiables, right? Where you're getting that me time
Yes.
in, that's going to help you stay grounded and really connected to what you're supposed to be doing and not being influenced by what everybody else is doing. Because again, you're doing us a disservice by doing that. Like, you need to be true to who you are and really find what works best for you to stay grounded every single day so that you can find what's going to flow through you with ease.
Yes. Like, for me, it's the same, like I would say people, right? I love people. But not necessarily I want to hang out all day long, all night long with people, but I love being around people. But at the same time, I need my me time. I think that's non-negotiable. Like, this is my me time, I can call it. Like, I love this conversation. I love expressing the knowledge, getting the knowledge at the same time. So yeah.
Yes. And it doesn't have to look like, people think that meditation time is like you have to have a quiet space, you have to have your pillows, no, meditation can be anywhere. It could be while you're walking, it could be while you're cooking, it could be while you're writing. There's so many different things that you could do to get in a meditative state. And the reason why meditation is so important is because you do have the ability to calm the mind and to be very present and in tune with what your body and your spirit is asking you to do. And so it doesn't necessarily have to look the way that our society tells us that it looks. It's not. It can be anything. And so you just have to find what really works for you. So with this, what words of wisdom would you give to those seeking a deeper understanding of themselves?
First of all, I would say, of course, everything is figureoutable. Grow with it. And, like the words, I would say it's the act. It's not the words. It's stepping into unknown. So actually encourage to people to act, not to think anymore.
That is so good. That is so good. And yes. And the meditative practice does allow us to stop thinking as much and actually doing more, taking action on what has been in our mind for such a long time. Oftentimes, and I'm sure that you've had this experience multiple times, Inga, where like fear has kind of debilitated you in a way where you didn't move. And
I lost you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I lost you. Can I? Now I hear you, like you keep cutting off.
Okay, well, it's actually very clear.
Maybe we're too far, like America and Lithuania is just too far.
I know
Internet cannot travel that fast.
It's just too far. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Hear you, just like now it looks like you're back. Sorry.
Okay, cool. So, it really is important for us to do more, but more in alignment with how we are internally feeling. And when we have that time to slow down, when we have that time to really meditate and to pay attention to our intuitive guidance, our inner guidance, we have the ability to step forward in a fearless manner where we're taking action on what has been inside of us for so long. I want you to tell us, Inga, how you have overcome fear.
People always told me I'm very brave. Like I'm fierce, I don't know, maybe it's part of my, once again, like personality and how my brain is wired, but trust me, I have lots of fears and doubts and maybe insecurity. Like for me, it's important that people would support me, like judgment. Who likes the judgment? Let's be honest, just raise your hands. Like who does? Nobody. Like to me, it's a strong no. When I start doing something and somebody would say, like, oh, so maybe that's the fear. And how do I overcome it? By doing it, by being like, you don't like it? Sorry, don't look at it. don't tell me you don't like it. You just don't look at it then. Well, why people come and be like, oh, Inga, don't do this, don't do that. Why you keep looking if you don't like it? Like go choose something else. Like maybe this channel and this talking head, it's not for you. So boundaries, like, and this is my like fear, like when you ask like how to step it, I guess just being like, I'm good what I'm doing with integrity, I'm doing the best I can. Maybe it's not the best it could be in the world, but it's in my knowledge, knowing like I'm doing my best. And that's, I think, the fear, like stepping into,
Stepping
in unknown and
stepping into it, facing it head on.
Even knowing like maybe there will be not everything will go really smooth. Knowing like there will be mistakes and messes but still doing it. I think that's the biggest encourager for me, knowing like I'll be fine. something not going to go the right way, but at the end, it will be awesome. You know, like just stepping into it, and the courage comes from the act, like I say, not like thinking, overthinking when it's going to be ready, I'm going to be ready. No, everybody who's listening, if you thinking about something, you are ready. That's it, you're ready. It's not going to be ideal and perfect, but you're ready. So just start doing it. Live your like big dream.
Yes, 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 yes. And remember that what Inga's philosophy, everything is figureoutable. And what you are thinking about, someone has already done how it, well, they've paved the way, right? Like it's in some form or manner, it's already been done, but it hasn't been done by you. And you have a very specific very specific way that it needs to be expressed for other people to they need it. They need your service. And even if you and I, because Inga and I have a very similar career path, and we're doing a lot of similar services, but Inga is in
Till now,
Lithuania.
weird.
I know it's really weird. So, but Inga is in Lithuania and I am in the United States, where, I mean, even though I'd like to say that there is 0 degrees of separation, especially right now, where our internet is so prominent and we have the ability to connect with anybody around the world, like I am doing now. But oftentimes we create those limitations for ourselves because we're comparing ourselves to the next person, or we think that everybody's doing it, but no, there's not enough people doing. There's not enough people doing. And so we need more of you to be stepping into your own power, into your own purpose, and to be putting into action what you've been having in your mind for so long. So with this, Inga, do you have any finishing statements that you'd like to add?
More doers and less thinkers. We all think, like we have a brain, it's thinking, we have a heart, it's beating. So let's get into action, like into doing. That's my last word for everybody. Let's grow, let's grow, let's go.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Let's grow. And so with this, I leave you and I encourage you to continue. Again, I can't stress this enough, to operate in your own power, to operate in your truth, speak your truth, and recognize that fear is just an illusion. It's an illusion that we often think into existence when it really is not there. And so when you face your fear head on and you take action on everything that you're fearing, you'll recognize that there really was nothing to fear to begin with. And that the people that are supposed to be in your life, influencing you and supporting you, will show up in ways that you never imagined. So I am just so blessed and so honored that Inga was able to share her words of wisdom and her knowledge and her experience with us. Oh no, she disappeared. But I'll get back on with her. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I will see you very soon. Blessings.